Hey, 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 everyone. Welcome to What Would Dorcy Do Friday. I am Dorcy Pruder, the CEO and founder of the Conscious Co-Parenting Institute. And I'm here live with you on this beautiful Friday afternoon, April 1st. Can you believe it? We're already at April 1st in 2022. It goes by so fast. So I'll just give people a couple minutes to hop on here, and I'm excited to see everybody today. Today, I want to talk about, excuse me, riff a little bit about reuniting with your children. So we get a lot of calls from people who have a complete emotional cutoff from their children. Maybe your children are teenagers or young adults or even adults. And we have a lot of parents call us, a lot of parents email us saying, my child has cut me off from all social media. They don't answer my calls. I don't even know if they're getting my text messages or my calls. They've pretty much cut me out of their life. And so they feel hopeless and they feel like there's nothing else that they can do. And yet they're still calling us. And so I see that as when people reach out, even though they may feel hopeless, I think somewhere deep down inside, they believe and know that there's always hope. And as long as they are alive and the children are alive. And so I share this because when people reach out and they feel hopeless in the moment, I know that if they're reaching out, there's still the opportunity that for a parent or somebody to shift how they show up or shift how they're communicating to recover their relationship with their children. So I say that because we get a lot of calls about that. We have a lot of people wondering, how do I communicate with my kids who have completely cut me off? And one of the things that I would do and that I highly recommend to the people that coach with us and the people that work with us in the Chosen Parent Collective and even the people with adult children who participate in Reunited is to create a space of which you can communicate with your children. So if you don't have an email or text or any way to get in touch with them, create one. Create an email account for your children that you can be constantly writing to your children in that email. For those of you that can communicate with your children, but they're not responding to you, you want to make it really easy for your children to be in relationship with you. And what that means is you don't want to talk to your kids about what's going on. You want and what's happened and all of those things. You want to focus on creating a soft place to land for your children. And that means you want to focus on communicating with your children about your children. Now, I get a lot of people that say, well, I don't know my kids because I haven't seen them in a decade or two or a few years or months or whatever. And I say to everyone, you know your children because they're your children and they're bonded to you. And you know them because you've had a prior relationship with them. And they're also part of who you are as well. They're part of you. So I want you to think about when you're communicating with your children that unconditional love is a very lonely one-way street until it isn't. And so you're communicating one way without any strings attached, without getting something in return from your children. That means communicating to them about them. So sending them things consistently that you feel they would like or they would be interested in. We have a parent who was in the Chosen Parent Collective. She was alienated from her daughter for about 40 years, both of her kids. And she coached with us and she did Reunited and Higher Purpose Parenting. And she went through all the classes and she was still stuck in a mindset that, it's not going to work, or my daughter's still really angry, or my children don't like me. They don't love me. She was really still focused on herself. She was focused on them needing to change. She was focused on there's too much water under the bridge. So she kept putting things out in her belief system, right? Was out in her language of what she believed was happening or what she believed she deserved. And so one of the things that we worked on was really shifting her belief system And one of those things is our belief system that our children don't love us, or they don't like us, or they don't want to ever see us again, or the cutoff is an authentic cutoff and they don't really want to have a relationship with you. And if that is what you believe, then you're going to continue to manifest that in your relationship. See, our lives are a manifestation of what we believe we deserve, unconsciously most of the time, and consciously when we're aware of what it is that we want. And there's an old quote, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Whatever you believe is true is true. And so if you believe that you're never going to reunite with your children, then there isn't any amount of skills that I can give you, no words I can share with you, no tactics I can share. I could give you a step-by-step process. But if you truly believe that your children don't want to have a relationship with you, that they don't love you, that reunification isn't possible, then you're not going to do the work. Or even if you did the work, you're going to continue to create the space in between you and your child. Okay. So what you believe is what you manifest. What you believe you deserve is what you manifest. And most of us believe things unconsciously. We go through a divorce, maybe a separation. We believe whatever our contribution was to that. Unconsciously, we tuck our negative beliefs about ourselves back in our unconscious mind. And then we bring people story into our life to wake us up to our unconscious story. And we don't want to see it that way because it feels better to be a victim than it does to be in charge of our life. And I know that sounds weird, but it is true. There's a part of our consciousness that really, really, really likes to be stuck in the victim mindset. It makes us feel good, even though it makes us feel bad. And it makes us feel good because it's what we know. And we feel comfortable there because it's what we know. And so what I would encourage you to do differently is to take some time and write out what is the story that you keep telling yourself. So, and they're the little stories that become the big experience, if you will. So it could be something like, my children don't love me. My children don't want to see me. My children will come around someday. Divorce is hard on the children. And so you're the one who wanted the divorce. And so you're just going to have to suffer the consequences. So whatever those might be the stories that you're telling yourself. So I would take the time to write out what it is that keeps coming up for you repeatedly. What is the story you keep telling yourself that's holding you stuck in this separation from your child? Maybe you believe that the bond is broken. Maybe you believe that nothing's going to work. Maybe you believe that the court system is broken and it's not going to work for you. If you have adult children, maybe you believe it's too late because they're adults and they haven't reached out to you. We have a lot of parents that call us that have adult children, and they're concerned because, they believe the story that don't worry, divorce is hard on the kids and they'll come around someday, and they age out and they didn't come around. They didn't come around someday. And maybe they're 18 or maybe they're 20 or maybe they're 25 or 30 or 40 or in their 50s. We worked with somebody recently. She was in her 60s. Okay. So maybe the kids have aged out and you're wondering, why aren't they coming around someday? I want to reset a mindset for you right now with adult children. You are the parent. You're always the parent. Even if you weren't actively parenting in their life because of whatever reason, the emotional cutoff, even in the last stages of their childhood and now they're adults, you're still their mom or you're still their dad. Okay. You're always going to be their parent. It doesn't matter what water is under the bridge or anything that's happened. You're always their parent. And it's your leadership that will lead them back to you. It's how you show up that will bring your children back into the soft place to land. So if you're waiting around, if you're doing that, waiting for your kids to come around someday, you may be waiting a long time. some parents call us and they say, well, my kids have reunited or they've shown back up, but they don't spend any time with me, or they're still angry or hostile, and they're saying all these things that aren't true. I don't know what to do. And so I do nothing, or I defend myself. When children show back up, if you haven't done your inner work and you're still trying to convince them, right? You're still defending yourself, or you're trying to show them what happened, then you're going to hold them at bay, because they don't understand the complexities of the marital relationship. They only have one narrative, one side of the story. And the truth is, there is a lot of water under that bridge. And when the relationship ends, it's the ending of a relationship between two spouses or a mom and a dad, but it's not the ending of the family. The children bond the family together. And if it doesn't go right, if it doesn't go well, then the children are resentful because of that. And I want you to listen here, because I don't want you to think I'm blaming you. This blame is the opposite side of the same coin of responsibility. Okay, so blame and responsibility. If you hear blame, then you've got some inner work to do. If you hear responsibility, you've done a lot of inner work. And the next step is to really figure out, how are you going to show up in a place of 100% responsible 100% of the time, so that you can hold that leadership container, right? Lead your children back to the soft place to land. If you're not a soft place to land for your children, if you're not loving them unconditionally, you're not being that space, they're not going to land there. They're going to land someplace else. I was having a conversation with a mental health professional and a lawyer and a parent the other day, and something interesting came up, because the mental health professional is struggling with holding on to being the one in charge. And I very quickly said, wait a minute, you're not in charge. It's really the parent. We shouldn't be taking the role of the parent and being the one who is responsible for the family. We want to take the role of, how can I help this parent learn and implement the skills that they need in order to be that soft place for the child to land, and not take over the role of parents. And I've seen a pattern that's happened a lot, is that parents start to let go of the rein, and they come over to this mental health provider in the family court system that gets assigned to do reunification, and they're waiting for that person to do something. So now you're waiting for the kids to come around, or you're waiting for the mental health provider to figure it out. You're waiting and waiting and waiting. You're not taking an active leadership role in your children's lives. And so when you want to recover your kids and recover your unbreakable bond, it's unbreakable. It didn't go anywhere. You're bonded to your children forever. They're still bonded to you. It's not unbreakable, or it's not breakable. It's unbreakable. It's just tucked below the surface. They're waiting for you to rise up. They're waiting for you to lead their family out of the pathology. That's what's happening. And if you're not doing that, if you're waiting, then they're waiting too. So think about it when kids are little and we're teaching them how to talk, or we're teaching them how to walk or eat, or all the things that when kids are really little, we don't wait. We're not like waiting. I wonder if he's going to pick up that fork and know what to do with it. No, we teach. We say, oh, this is how I eat. This is how you eat with a fork, right? This is how you walk. And you walk and you walk and you guide and you walk. They're waiting for you to do that at every stage of their life. That you never stop being a parent, right? You don't stop being a parent when your kids are in elementary school. You don't stop being a parent when your kids go to middle school. They're just different levels of parenting, right? Your role modeling and leadership shifts to where they are growing, both physically and emotionally, and then the next and intellectually. And then you don't stop being a parent when they become teenagers or they're in high school. It's a different level of leadership, right? Having open dialogue with your children allows you to create that space. But if you haven't had that communication for a while, then your leadership is even more critical. And the difference between the parents that actually succeed in reunification and the ones that don't are the ones that hear this message and take a leadership role, the ones who shift the mindset from being a victim There are no victims. There are only volunteers. Your life is a manifestation of what you believe you deserve, mostly unconsciously. And so everybody's showing up in your story. They're just actors in your story. So if you can shift your belief system and get out of the victim mindset, and you get into the leadership mindset to say, I'm 100% responsible 100% of the time. And I'm the leader of my family. And I'm going to lead my children out of the pathology, out of the darkness, out of a belief system that there's this imaginary break in our bond. It's just that's not real. That's not real. That's an illusion. It's a delusion. You're always bonded to your family. You're always bonded to your children. They're always bonded to you. So when you dissolve that, the bond resurfaces. And so it's your leadership, how you show up, that changes everything. And you show up by giving your children unconditional love. That means pouring into your kids about your children. Okay, not about you, not about what's going on in your life. It's about them. And you'll get to a point where you can talk about you, and you get to a point where you can talk about what's going on in your life when the door is open and they walk through. Okay, so it's not that you don't ever talk about yourself, and it's the beginning piece. And what I also see parents do that I would do differently is that when the children start to fold back in, parents pounce, right? They're either too affectionate all the time, oh, I gotta hug you, and too fast, or they want to defend, or they want to explain all the things that happened, and it's overwhelming for the child. So you've got to step the child at any age through the process of really pouring unconditional love into them, creating that soft place for them to land, opening up to the container, letting them know you love and understand, you're compassionate for their situation, and giving them the opportunity to come through the door, land, and then let them lead with the conversation with whatever the past is when they're ready for that, if they ever are. But oftentimes you need a moratorium on the past because it's mostly delusional stuff or kernels of truth that have been twisted and distorted and made to be something that they're not. And so when we put so much pressure on the kids to talk about it, the only way they can justify rejecting a beloved parent for so long is to justify their behavior by believing the twisted and distorted narrative. And so you can't pounce so fast or you'll push the children away. If you're angry with your children, if you're angry with the way that they've shown up, if you're angry with their rude and disrespectful behavior, oftentimes I see parents want to defend themselves and then demand respect and I'm your parent and yada, yada. And that creates conflict with the child. That creates conflict with a child in a normal situation, even if you're not experiencing an emotional cutoff. And so you want to be a little more ninja in that and come from a place of understanding. I hear what you're saying. I can see how that's frustrating. Tell me more. That doesn't mean I agree with everything you're saying or I don't agree with anything you're saying. Don't get in a conflict with them. Give them the space to empty their container. Okay, so this is the thing. These are the things that we advise our clients to do all the time. There's not a secret little magical pill that you get to take and that's the way it works. It's this way with all relationships, and how you show up is critical. You're the parent, so it's your leadership that's required. If you're waiting around for your kids to come around someday, they probably won't. And even if they do, if you haven't done your work, then you're still going to hold them at bay. And so flipping the narrative, showing up differently, creating that space, and being a constant communicator with them, constantly giving them something, constantly pouring unconditional love. I found this really great article. It made me think of you. I love you, Mom. Okay. I found this really awesome video about, the 1969 playoff game in football. If you have a kid that's into football, I found this video. I thought you would enjoy it. I love you, Dad. Okay. So these are the kinds of things you want to build a treasure chest of beautiful things that you can share with your child about your child, things you think your child would be interested in. If you don't have a way of communicating with your child, if you don't have an email or you don't have a cell phone, they don't have social, they've cut you off from all of that stuff. That doesn't mean you just sit back and wait. Okay. What that means is create an email account, create a blog, create a website, create a way to communicate with your child consistently so that when you are able to contact them again, when you find them, then you can show them how you've been loving them this whole time, providing them this information, showing them how much you love them, connecting with them when they're ready. Okay. So that is what I would do. It's simple. It feels complicated until it isn't. If you want more support, we have many, many ways that you can work with us. The Chosen Parent Collective, we come together live once a month on the second Wednesday of every month, I believe. It's magical. We start that call every month with the success stories of the parents that have been in the collective, supporting each other, really going through and doing the work. And I just want to remind you that it's not just a one-off. You have to consistently show up differently. If you have adult children and you want more support in recovering your relationship with your adult children, we do have the Reunited course. My team will pop it in the chat here. And then for those of you that maybe have taken some of our stuff and you're really or you haven't, but you're really looking for a way to really clean up what I call your side of the mirror, really get crystal clear on the things that really brought you to where you are today, and maybe even some of your own childhood trauma, we have a wonderful course called Higher Purpose Parenting that really helps you understand your family dynamic, how you chose the person you chose to bring children into the world with, why you made the decisions, and then what to do about it and how to shift how you're showing up to truly be the soft place to land for your beloved children. So you don't have to do any of those things. You can do all of those things. You can just stay close here. We're always coming to you live every Friday. I'll be doing as many Fridays as I can, I should say. What Would Dorcy Do Friday? We have a YouTube channel as well, so please make sure you pop over there. If you've missed some of the What Would Dorcy Do Fridays, we have them all posted on our YouTube channel, which is End Parental Alienation Now. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much for popping in. I love you so much. And one last quick reminder, we are doing a live webinar next week. So for those of you that might be interested in doing this kind of work with families, if you feel like your pain and suffering and the experience that you've had from going through this family dynamic might be something that you're interested in building a career around or about, or leaping off from, then we are doing a live webinar next Tuesday. My team will put the link somewhere in here in the chat, and also I believe it's in the group. So if you're interested, make sure you jump on to that live webinar. I'll be teaching on that webinar next Tuesday. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.